is Mzuzukile Soni. I'm the founder of the BrownSense group. BrownSense is a platform that I founded on Facebook on the 13th of January 2016. And where that came from was from a space where I needed to play my part in creating a space where we can do what we can with what we have as Black people. This came from a sense of frustration, in terms of feeling helpless and as if nothing that we have or any resources that we lack are the reason why things are not moving forward. And therefore I thought, as a collective, and when we come together and pool our resources together, pool our skill sets together, pool our experiences together, that it becomes a much bigger force to withstand. And this led to the creation of the BrownSense group on Facebook. My actual trigger was the well-known Penny Sparrow Facebook post. I think that was around December 2015, if I'm not mistaken, or early January 2016. And the whole thing around that was, in my mind, I was thinking, how long is this going to happen? How long is this going to be? Because that was not the first case or the first incident of that nature. Every year there's a big one, but the thing is, there's a lot more that never get reported on, and therefore don't enjoy as much hype as that one did. So the space in which my mind was at that moment was, why do we also kind of act or behave as if we are helpless, as if there's nothing that we can do within our resources? And that thinking, led to the next thought, which was, but actually the biggest retailers, the biggest businesses in this country are propped up by the money that we spend on them as a people. And what happened if we were to redirect those funds and that spend into a space that builds Black people? Because for too long we have propped up the very system that oppresses us. That's basically how BrownSense came to be. And since 2016, I think a lot of you know about the group on Facebook, currently sitting at about 194,000 members. And primarily that's a marketplace. So you come in, you've got a business that you run, whether it's a full-time business, whether it's a business on the side. You have space and an opportunity to market yourself. But also you are just purely interested in buying from Black-owned businesses. You don't have a business as such, but your only interest is, I'm tired of buying from WMC, and I want to support and to buy from Black businesses. Pinning all of that are the core underlying issues that my intention when I started the group was to address. Underlying issues such as what other thought patterns inform the way that we behave or the way that we treat each other. For example, in many cases, maybe it's not wise to say many, let's say some, it might seem like many, based on the number of the amount of the noise that we see in the social media space. But in some spaces we'll see and hear or read how people are not happy with receiving or the kind of service that they've received from a Black business, and there's a sense of apprehension, anxiety or whatever, or let me just give them a chance and hope for the best. If they do give you the best, it's a big deal. I go to the social media space, make a noise about it, tag the person that I'm praising and all that, because it's still an anomaly. It's not a default setting. And when I say there's a whole number of other issues and pinning the whole thing around BrownSense is addressing those issues, why it's an anomaly. How we do it, we launched the BrownSense Market, which I think many of you know, that runs once a month, every last Sunday. It was in Midrand, we had one in Cape Town, we've had one in Soweto. 2020, we all know that COVID-19 happened. We had to put that on hold, but then we had to birth a new baby that has been for a long time, possibly since 2016 even, has been underway, and that is BrownSense.Africa. What is BrownSense.Africa? It's an e-commerce platform that you as a Black-owned business can plug into. We verify you, checking that if you are registered, you are who you say you are. Your compliance is not as hectic as yet, but it's primarily around the company registration, but also making sure that we hold one another to a high accountability system, because one other thing that we lack as a people is organization. And organization works where there is a code that everyone agrees to, that we are going to be held to this code, and it all has to do with how we run our business, how we engage with one another, how we empower each other, etc. And then once you've gone through that process, you become what is called a BrownSense verified business. So you get that tick next to your business name, so that anyone that engages with you knows that you subscribe to a code in terms of how you run your business and how you treat your customers, your employees, and other business associates, and so forth. And then it's also a B2B platform, which is a business to business, which means other businesses can buy from black businesses. Reason being that the complexity of this thing is that as much as we are pushing black-owned businesses, we are also tackling the value chain. It's easy for me to go and buy raw material for whatever product that I sell from other people, other races. However, we need to fill those gaps and empower one another in terms of how do we then get people to fill this value chain, or this the key points that address our business. And I think that's where the true power is. Then it's also a B2C, which is business to customer. So people like myself, I'm just looking for a hair product, for my beautiful hair. I want shea butter or whatever it is that I'm using. I go on BrownSense.Africa and I procure that. The other great thing about this is that it's a pan-African platform. So started in South Africa, primarily used by South Africans. Our outlook is pan-African because the borders that we adhere to today were imposed to us by the colonialists. So this is what we are, using what we have, where we are. One of the great things about BrownSense that shows the power of collaboration was the birth of the People's Fund, which BrownSense is part of. There's the Hookup Dinner, there's Paybook, there's Tuga Africa. And primarily what that is, before I tell you what it is, it started first as an asset crowdfunding platform, which meant that if I want to grow my business, I want to buy a new asset, I don't have the cash flow to buy the asset. The bank is not going to give me the loan. I go to the People's Fund. If I qualify, then they would raise the funds using the crowd to buy me or my business that asset. In turn, I use the asset to grow my business and then benefit the crowd through a royalty-based system. So we put that on hold in 2018 and introduced purchase order funding, which means that if you have a purchase order, whether from government, whether from the private sector, you need funding to in order to be able to execute on your PO. They don't give you money up front. They give you this nice letter of award. You've got the contract, you've got the tender, great news, but now they don't give you the cash up front to say, go and get whatever you need from your suppliers in order for you to come and execute. This is the role that we're playing as the People's Fund. So you come to the People's Fund to get the funding. Since 2018, we have enabled over 100 million rands in purchase orders. Now this again demonstrates the power of the collective. And this is what BrownSense is all about. It's all about also demonstrating in a practical way what will happen when we all get our hands on the deck, move in one direction. We might differ in terms of religion, what party politics you believe in or whatever, but the one key thing and the one key factor is to build the black race, to build the black economy, so that when our children grow, they don't have the same conversations, the same challenges that we guys are having today. And this becomes a way of living and not an anomaly. For more information, go to BrownSense, www.brownsense.Africa. Brown as in the color brown, sense for common sense, but also sense.Africa, or send us an email at info@brownsense.Africa. Thank you.